One podcast, mining the Magic the Gathering community for salt. This is the Howling Salt Mine.
It's the Howling Salt Mine. The Howling Salt Mine.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Howling Salt Mine podcast, the podcast where we delve into those salty mines of the Magic the Gathering community, find the salty stories, the saltiest hosts, put them in our mine cart, and bring them right back up to you, our dear prospectors at home. As always, I'm your host, Sam, and I'm joined by my singular co-host, Tony. Say hey, Tony.
What up, what up, what up?
What up, what up, what up, what up, indeed.
Hey. Beep, 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 beep.
Mike isn't here, so it's a Gremlin Boys episode where just me and Tony being gremlins. It's also incredibly late at night, so you're gonna get some of that second episode energy when we record doubles, except we didn't record a first episode.
Yeah, it's Gremlin Boys mixed with Thunderdome, mixed with late nightness.
Yeah, exactly. But before we go any further, we got to shout about our lovely nice tier patrons. And this week we have Accidental TPK, Alex Balix, Crean Bean, Prime Speaker Florian, Dr. Black, and Z. Z, thank you for all being so nice. You're so lovely and nice.
Thanks.
So Mike isn't here. We miss him. I desperately want to talk about Pokemon TCG Pocket, the new phone app.
You literally said you weren't going to talk about it.
I know, but I'm caveating that I desperately want to talk about it, but I will wait until Mike is here out of respect for him. But I am going to talk about the regular Pokemon trading card game, not the phone version.
Oh my God. So if there's nothing that
I'm fucking loopholing.
If there's anything that you haven't learned about dear Samuel here that I have learned in the many years of knowing him, is that this fucker is obsessed with trading card games.
Dude.
Like, doesn't matter what variety it is. Like, if
I'm
it's a
sick.
trading card
I got a
game,
sickness.
he fucking wants it. Yeah.
I can't help myself, dude.
I feel like there was random ass shit in college that you'd be like, oh, how about this fucking thing that like
Are you
no
talking
one
about,
else plays?
Are you talking about Magination Duel, dude? That game fucking slaps,
I think it was probably that. I think there was other random ass shit that you also showed me in college that I'm like, what the fuck is this?
So it's funny you mentioned college because I was hanging out with my old college roommate, Juan, a couple weekends ago. Listeners will remember, I think it was a few months ago at this point, maybe like 5 or 6 months. But I had this weekend where I played the Yu-Gi-Oh card game and enjoyed it a lot and talked about it a whole bunch on an episode. And that was with my roommate, Juan. And this weekend, I hung out with Juan again. And instead of Yu-Gi-Oh, we played the Pokemon TCG.
Gotcha. So he's an enabler. That's what we call these friends in quotation marks.
Really, we're both just like bad influences on each other. We'll just be like, let's just go buy a couple decks and play right now. So that morning I downloaded the Pokemon TCG Pocket app and was like already thinking about it. And then Juan came down to visit and he like surprised us with these cool Eevee Pokemon cards. Because my daughter's name is Evelyn, and sometimes we call her Evie.
Oh,
so he was like, here, these are for little Evie, and I was like, dude, have you heard about this new Pokemon thing? And he's like, no, but I have been collecting Pokemon cards, and I was like, how dare you keep this secret from me? And he was like, do you want to see them? And I was like, yeah. And he just pulls like a bunch of slabs out of like a fanny pack and cards and top loaders.
How many slabs can you fit in a fucking fanny pack?
He had a handful of slabs.
A lot.
They weren't all slabs, but he had like a handful of slabs and then a bunch of cards that were just sleeved up. And dude, first of all, Pokemon cards are fucking gorgeous, man. The foil treatment, like the alternate arts that they have, it was just instantly nostalgic, and the cards are fucking gorgeous. Like you look at it and you're like, I want to own these. It's dangerous.
Is Pokemon TCG bigger than Magic?
That's a really good question. I have no idea. I think they're comparable.
If they are, fuck you, Magic, for printing so shittily because everybody else prints better. One Piece prints better. Pokemon prints better.
One Piece prints amazing, man. Jesus Christ. Talk about good foil treatments. Holy fuck. One Piece cards are sexy.
Yeah. I don't even know, but until you've held a foil Nami, you're just like, you don't realize you haven't lived yet.
Literally, dude. Yeah, and especially some of those like super rare textured foils in One Piece. Like I remember, I literally have it right next to me. I remember I pulled like a Lucci at MagicCon Chicago, and our friend Andrew Rothbox had brought me up this box of One Piece to crack, and I pulled out this insane foil treatment, like textured foil, alternate art, like gorgeous, chase card. And it was just so cool because I remember showing it to you and showing it to Nick, and you had been introduced to One Piece that weekend. Nick had never really seen One Piece cards. You might not know what One Piece is, but look at the quality of the foiling and the quality of this card stock. It's like fucking insane, man. Yeah. I love Magic cards. Magic cards, we could be doing better with the foils.
We could be doing a lot better. We could be doing better with the regular fucking prints too.
They're starting to do better. To give them a little pinch sprinkle of salt credit, they are starting to do better with some of like the glitter foils and things like
Sam,
that.
This one is #not sponsored, so you're fine.
They're shit. No, no, I'm kidding. So anyways, Juan busts out these Pokemon cards, and I was like, dude, I got Pokemon on the brain. Like, I've been thinking about the trading card game a lot. And he's like, I haven't played it. I've just been cracking packs, because he got super into watching some people on like YouTube who crack packs, like some other creators out there who are just cracking packs for value and for collectability.
Man, that's another whole fucking topic.
Oh, I know. So of course we're like, the LGS is open. Do you want to like go get some cards and like play some Pokemon? And he's like, yes, I do. And side note, Juan had been to the casino the night before, and he won like $4,000 on blackjack or something. So he was like,
he's a big winner. So he's like, hell yeah.
I don't give a fuck. I'll drop a bunch of, he's like, I'll buy you fucking cards. I don't care. I was like, let's do it, dude. So we go to the gaming store, and it is so funny, man. Like with Magic and even with One Piece, I'm so used to seeing the product, immediately knowing what I want to buy, what every product is. Pokemon, it was like the Wild West. I looked at all the cards and I was like, I don't know what any of these fucking things are. I'm like looking at the starter decks. I'm like, I don't know what these are. They have these, I think they're called like poster sets or something, where it's like a big flat box that has like some individual singles and then like booster packs behind it. Like there's all these different types of products that you just don't really exist in the Magic world.
So while you feel at home, you also feel lost.
I felt so lost, and I felt small and insignificant. I felt like a loser. I was just like, oh. So of course I wanted like the sweatiest deck I could buy. So I just immediately start Googling, and Juan is like going off vibes buying his shit. So a couple things. One, Pokemon cards are fucking cheap, dude. Like booster packs obviously have like, booster pack prices, like $5 or whatever a pack. But a starter deck was, and again, it's not an EDH deck. As a whole, Pokemon cards are cheaper. Like the value is just like not the same. I think chase rares generally are way more expensive than Magic chase rares for a set. But when it comes to like individual card prices, mega cheap, right?
Like cents, like everything's under $1.
Yeah, like pretty cheap. Like you could put together a fairly competitive Pokemon. Actually, you could put together like a top tier competitive Pokemon deck for like $50 or $60. Like it's very, very inexpensive.
That's not enough for my jank decks that I'm trying to build.
Literally, dude. Especially with the TCG player shipping. Am I right?
Am I right?
That card optimizer. Waka waka.
Dude, the card optimizer used to fucking slap, and now it sucks ass.
Yeah, now it's like, did you want 3 secret layer versions that cost twice as much? I'm like, what are you, stupid? I don't want that shit. So I find a starter deck that's like $15, right? And then I see the same starter deck in a bundle with another one. It's like a dual deck kind of situation, and it's $8 for the bundles. I'm like, I'm not paying twice as much for half the cards. So I buy the bundle and I get 2 decks for $8. Juan gets a starter deck too. Then we find these things, and I was telling you about this the other day. We find these things that are called World Championship decks. Nick reminded us the other night that Magic used to have these. This was like the origin of gold bordered cards. But Pokemon has the same thing. And it's basically like the exact carbon copy of a deck that a world champion played, except the card backs are different and the border is silver. So the cards aren't legal for tournament play, but it is like an S tier deck, fully tuned up. And it was fucking $13, dude. The cool thing about that was like, I remember buying that when I was a kid. They had that product. And this is funny. While we were delayed recording this episode, I was actually digging around in my card closet and I found the rules book to my 2005 World Championship deck. I don't have the cards anymore. I unfortunately gave away all my Pokemon cards.
But you have the book.
But I still, for some reason, have the book.
Because you're a rules boy, Sam. What do you mean for some reason? You were like, I'll get rid of these, but I'll keep the rules just in case.
Well, so I had this deck from this kid named Curran Hill. He was 10 in 2005. So he's like almost 30 now. He's about to turn 30 next year, this little boy whose Pokemon deck I used to have. So anyways, Juan gets one of these world championship
Did you like take his
decks.
lunch money? Like, how'd you get his fucking Pokemon deck?
Well, he was a world championship dude. Like, he was a world champion at 10.
Oh, he was a world champion at 10?
Yeah, dude.
He fucking caught them all, huh?
I was playing his like sick tech deck that he won with. Again, it's really cool. It's cool to see that this product is still made. I think that would be something dope that Magic could do with like, you know, silverbacks or whatever the fuck. But anyways, we buy these decks, we go back and we start playing. And man, the Pokemon game is just super, super fun. It's like a best of 6. It's very similar to One Piece TCG, where One Piece you have life cards and you draw them when you take damage. In Pokemon, you have prize cards and you draw them when you kill your opponent's Pokemon. Some Pokemon are super
don't
powerful.
Kill them, you make them faint, bro.
Not how I do it, dude. It was a bloodbath.
Fucking ripping the head off a Pikachu.
But now there's like so many different types. Like there's like EX Pokemon that you get 2 prize cards when you beat them and they're fucking juiced to the 9s. And then there's VMAX Pokemon that you get 3 prize cards when you kill them because they're insanely hard to kill. So it's very interesting. So we played this like intro game where we both used a regular slow starter deck where you had like one really good card and when you got it out you were like, hey, I'm doing the thing.
Yeah.
And we played 2 games like that and then we were like, let's play with the championship decks. And we're both just like doing insane shit and like comboing off and we're like, oh my god, these decks are fucking crazy. It was like learning how to ride a bike and then being like, I'll go off this jump with my motorcycle, like why not? Suffice to say, it was just incredibly fun, man. Super nostalgic to play Pokemon again. I really enjoyed the strategy of it and I really liked the vibe of it. Like, I'm not going to buy cards because again, like this world championship deck kind of scratched the itch. I think if anything, I would buy a few of these and just have them around. And whenever a friend wanted to play, be like, hey, you want to play like super high octane Pokemon right now? But it was cool, man.
I feel like the thing about Magic is that it's so complicated that if you can play that, it makes other things a quick learning curve.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And so you can do exactly that. You can have 2 high octane fucking wombo combo Pokemon decks and just be like, yo, dude, let's fuck right now.
And be like, I'm figuring it out as we go. And you know, by the time we played our second game, it was like, okay, we're going full combo now. We know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it's cool, man. Like there's not a lot of interaction. There's some, but there's not a ton.
I like that.
And it's very much like who can set up their board first. And then like a little bit of disruption with each other, but not a ton. Again, like it's pretty simple when it comes to that.
Does going first matter?
Yeah, I mean it's sort of like any 1v1 thing where if you go first, you don't draw, and I think there might be some other limitation. But yeah, there's like a little bit of that. But for the most part, it felt pretty balanced with what we were doing. Like ultimately, the person who goes first is the first person who, well, potentially is the first person who could attack, but it kind of depends on how much energy you have to put on your Pokemon and shit like that.
Yeah. I feel like I don't want to get into this right now, but I only knew Pokemon from playing the TCG on the Game Boy.
Yeah, like, dude.
That is the
game rules.
That is the only thing I remember. And I barely remember now. I actually mostly remember playing Mario Tennis on the Game Boy. Like, that's what I remember more than that, because I played those 2 games and I lost my Mario Tennis cartridge at some point, and it was like
and you're
wicked sad about it.
Just gotta play Pokemon now.
I put so many fucking hours into it, and that's literally what fucking happened. Like, I lost it, and then I was like, fuck, well, I guess I gotta play Pokemon trading card game now. And I did.
Pokemon was so huge when I was a kid, and I remember being like one of 4 kids in my entire elementary school who knew how to actually play the fucking card game correctly. Like, I have a core memory of being at my friend Nolan's house, and this Jamoke who was there, Connor, you know who you are, putting fucking you piece of shit, putting fucking 30 energies on his Mewtwo and being like, well, Mewtwo's power is multiplied for each energy that goes on. And I was like, this is not how the game is fucking played. Like, we can all read. We're all old enough to read, and we have the rule books. We don't need this like schoolyard bullshit, like summer camp fucking rules, man. That's probably the first time I ever got salty in a card game.
was that shit. But wait.
Oh,
Sam.
Yes?
What is salt?
Tony, what a great question. Salt is frustration in the game, as we like to say. It could be frustration in any card game, really. I think anything is going to get you salty out there. But today we're talking about Magic the Gathering, except for the Pokemon that we just talked about.
You know what I realized? When we define salt, we use salty in the definition, which is like the major faux pas of like definitions. Like, don't use the word in the definition. What is salt? It's whatever makes you salty is what is salt. I realized that listening to an episode the other day, and I was like, interesting.
We're not really defining it at all. We're just kind of doing a bit. It's really more of just a transition into the regular part of the episode from the preamble. But salt could be anything like getting pub stomped in a game that you thought was going to be low power. Maybe you wanted to play precons. Somebody said they have an upgraded precon, but they upgraded that precon with a bunch of stacks pieces and the One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters. Maybe you are executing a combo and you fuck it up and you just feel like shit. Salt can come from other players at the table. It can also come from within. And we talk about all the different types of salt so that we can learn from it and hopefully not be salty in a future game of Magic the Gathering. It's an edumagicational show, as we like to say.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, indeed. Are you ready for some stories here, Tony?
I'm fucking ready, boy.
So I got some fun ones picked out. Folks know that we just came back from Vegas and we got a bunch of stories for our live episode. And, you know, we weren't able to read them all. So we're gonna sprinkle those into some of our episodes that are coming out. And I figured let's hit it big and do a bunch in this ep. So this first one comes to us from our buddy Lord Kaiju, aka LK. What's up, LK?
Hey, pew, 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 pew.
What up?
Thanks for the Gyruda.
Yeah, thanks for the Gyrudas. It's so great. I was actually like I got a signed Gyruda as well, and I was just like looking at all my Gyrudas, and I was like, oh man, I love Gyruda.
Somebody really cool gave you that deck, probably. So like,
literally, dude. Yeah, one of my best friends.
That was like a cry, but like a happy cry, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you were like tee-heeing, and I was like trying to cry. So
I was laughing cutely.
Yeah.
My fingertips were in my dimples, and I was spinning them.
They're deep in those dimples, bro.
And this post is titled "One of Us Was Tortured," and the story goes: one of us was tortured, and the other was smiling and having a grand old time. But let me take you back to the beginning. I had a relatively new buddy to play Commander with. We've hung out a few times, and I've really liked the interactions, and he keeps inviting me back to play again. We play at bars, sometimes at an LGS we both like, and once at his house. At this point, we've played maybe 4 or 5 separate times, and we mostly play 1v1, which really exacerbates the power level differences between our deck builds. His decks are generally much lower power. We are used to this, though, and he has decided to start powering up his decks with some of my suggestions because he really likes my decks and wants to step it up a bit. Fast forward to our story, we meet up at an LGS, and we get there right as doors open, and no one else is there. I just pulled Massacre Girl, known killer, which I should have known would be a horrible deck for 1v1, no matter what deck was on the other side, but I wanted to test it against someone I knew wouldn't get salty easily. pause. I feel like we should read this before we, if this is going to be a critical card.
I don't need to read it. Everybody's going to be like, that fucking sucks. Massacre Girl sucks.
Well, this is
like
the new one, right? So Massacre Girl, known killer. This is from Murders at Karlov Manor. Legendary creature, human assassin with menace and a 4/4. Creatures you control have wither. They deal damage to other creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. That's pretty hot. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, you draw a card.
Oh, fuck this deck.
Seems
I know
pretty cool.
exactly what this fucking deck is doing, and I do not like it.
Seems pretty cool, actually.
I mean, it's a very me deck. I won't lie. Like,
yeah. I mean, -1/-1 counters, and it draws like right on there. Oh my God. There's got to be so many combos. Okay. Anyways, like fucking Hapatra on crack, dude.
Yeah.
So I tell my buddy what the deck is all about, and I tell him if he doesn't want to play against it, that's cool. I'll play something else while we wait for more people to filter in. He looks me dead in the eyes, smiles, and says, I just upgraded Rin and Seri tokens. Let's do this thing. To which I respond and say, that sounds like a horrible idea. You'll be fueling this deck like no tomorrow. My buddy stares back, smiles, nods, and says again, let's do this. I break into a cold sweat. I am bad at specific details, but there were no surprises in my buddy's deck. He would play out creatures, I would zero their toughness, draw cards, rinse, repeat, and I watched him the whole time, just staring deep into my soul as we did this each time he played a creature. And I felt like my soul was being sucked out of my body. I would ask, okay, looks like this is just going to keep going this way. Would you like to concede and switch decks? To which he would say, nope. I want you to show me what your deck does. I realize I have walked into a nightmare, and I feel the vacancy in my body as my inner workings, physical and emotional, are sucked into the void. Finally, I have lethal on board. He could play more creatures to stop it, but that would only drag the game another soul-sucking turn. Looks like I have it. Let's just finish this and switch decks or see if anyone else wants to play, okay? My buddy smiles wide, taps all his mana for March of the Multitudes, which puts out just enough creatures to survive, but really, they're just more fodder for me to eat through. He has nothing else in hand and confesses to me, you win this game because I have nothing in this deck to deal with you, but I want to see you kill me still. Do that, and then we can switch decks. I full swing. He blocked. I drew cards from the Withering. His next turn, he draws, plays the land he got, and says, your go. I swing and I win. I have nothing else left in me. My soul has vanished. He's sitting there smiling, and he says, now, didn't that feel great? I packed up Massacre Girl and have not brought her out since. The utter non-game and my friend's refusal to let me back out of my mistake made me realize I need to be a better person going forward. And while he laughed and did legitimately have a good time, as we got several more games in that day, this game still haunts me. And the main moral of the story is, don't do 1v1 Commander. Much love and appreciation to you guys from LK. Congrats on the live show. I look forward to seeing y'all in Vegas. It was great to see you too, LK. And thanks for the story. This is like such the opposite of what you think is going to happen when you have these like power mismatches. Like,
yeah. Well, like I legitimately thought they had put in some sick tech to like fuck them,
right?
But this is somehow so much better, like,
or worse, I guess, depending on what. Yeah, it's like you're really flipping the pub stomp on its head. Like you're still getting stomped, but you are emotionally stomping the other.
Oh yeah,
player,
absolutely
you know?
crushing. Like never stood a chance. Like I don't even know. It's pretty brutal. It feels like some fucking mind games. Like
literally, it is the mind games. And it's sort of like, okay, yeah, this is punishing. How quick can you assemble the win? And then you're like panicking. Like yeah. I've definitely felt this having like Dictate of Erebos on the field when people won't back down. And then you're just like, okay, I'm just going to keep killing your stuff. And they're like, all right, pass turn. And you're like, do you want to concede? And they're like, nope. You got to attack in. I'm sorry. I played this deck. I'm sorry.
I think anything you can do that gets somebody to not play a deck
Literally.
for a period of time, as long as it's comical and it's not like a hated thing, is like pretty funny and great. Because sometimes that happens and it's like a really sad scenario, but this is not that.
Yeah, like it's never good to like blow up on someone and try to force them to like guilt them out of not playing a deck in like a mean way, but you can guilt people out of not playing a deck in kind of a funny way. And I think that's a really interesting way of teaching that lesson. It's like, are you having a good time fucking up my board over and over again? Here's another cat token for you to kill. And you're like, please stop. There's so much blood on my hands already.
I know, like that's the you're just sitting there watching yourself become the villain with the blood pouring from your
oh my god, dude, it's so bad.
Oh my god.
That's a good one, man.
What do you think about the salt rating here on this one?
Salt rating is a weird term for this one because I don't know if this would get me salty. I think I would just feel hollowed out like a fucking jack-o'-lantern that's been 3 weeks gone by, still sitting on the front porch, just rotted.
You went into it feeling like the beginning of a jack-o'-lantern, right? You're fresh, you're good, you've just been carved, you're a little juicy still. You're
I'll be a little scary. Yeah.
And then by the end, it's that sad sack that's like half sunken in on itself, and it's just like
the squirrels don't even touch it.
Please, bro. Yeah, it's like, please throw me out.
Compost
just end
me.
It. Please,
just put me in the backyard.
Yeah, just move me off the porch. Like,
dude, it's so bad, man. I would react the exact same way. I think if I was in this game, I would concede. I think I'd be like, I don't want to play this game anymore. Fucking you win. Let's do something else, please. You're torturing me.
Yeah, like fucking anything else.
Dude, it's oh my god, it's so ridiculous, dude. I love it.
Try and go up from there, I guess.
Yeah, right. Another salty story, shall we?
Yeah,
let's do it. Okay, this story comes to us from our buddy Serotinus Sequoia. Counterspell
Fuck
master.
Yeah.
Counterspell master, dude.
Man, fucking bullshit.
And this post is titled A Growing Salt Crystal. And the story goes, what's up, you crusty dicklings? I've been farting around in the Patreon Discord for long enough that I should finally submit a salty story of my own. I come to you seeking some edumagication on how to deal with an ever-growing salt crystal that threatens to envelop me like the rock candy crystals from that episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender where they meet King Boomy. If you know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I knew exactly where that was going.
I fucking know exactly, man. That episode's so good when Sokka like teeters over because this gets too top heavy.
Yeah, but it's just from the one side, so it like grows and then he fucking tips.
Oh man, what a fucking great show. We need to do an off the rails on Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Definitely should do that.
Like iconic show for sure.
Yeah, 1000%. When we get tattoos for it, then we'll when I get the arrow on my dome,
your bald head
down to my ass, like that's when we do it.
Dude, I would 100% get an Avatar: The Last Airbender tattoo. Like you don't need to even ask me twice. I'd do it fucking right now.
I would too. Man. I feel like we all just got to get symbols. You, me, Mike, and who's that other guy? No, just kidding. I love you, Nick.
Does Nick watch Avatar? I don't know if he does.
I thought he did.
We'll have to double check this. We'll have to confirm. Nick is so funny because he's firmly like a no anime guy. And then we're like, yeah, but do you like Cowboy Bebop? And he's like, well, of course I like Cowboy Bebop. And then,
they're all just gateway drugs. He just hasn't gotten there yet.
And then we're like texting with him and he's like, yeah, I'm just watching all the Studio Ghibli movies in a row. And it's like, all right, man. Like,
yeah.
And you like Avatar. Like Avatar's American anime. Like it's so fucking close.
Yeah.
Anywho, a little tangent there. All right, let's keep going. Many of the details of the crystallizing incident have been lost to the sands of time. But the story takes place at an LGS, the L being in quotations, as it actually requires a bit of a drive to get there. I find some people to form a pod, and one player was on Kalia of the Vast, which I had played against before. I can't remember what the other two people were playing, so even though they were wonderful people, get fucked players 3 and 4. We start the game like normal, and the Kalia player's friend walks in, And as there is an open seat next to him, they sit down and decide to start playing a 1v1 CDH game while he continues to play an hour casual game. This seemed super bizarre to me, especially as we weren't asked if this was okay. It just happened, and there was not enough open players in the store to start a new pod, and we were already partway through a game. To his credit, he won the CDH game relatively quickly and was able to cast out Kalia. I, knowing how quickly that deck can snowball, was able to generate 3 pings of damage with a Veyran, Voice of Duality, and some other wizard, and send 2 at Kalia, killing it. The player then scoops, not from frustration, but because a different friend walked in and he wanted to get a game in with them before the store closed. Confused, I set the final ping at some 2 toughness creature as there were no 1/1s on board, effectively doing nothing. In the moment, I was more confused by the experience than anything, but the more I think about the experience, the saltier I get. How do I stop getting so salty from a past experience? With love, Serotinus Sequoia. Thanks, Sequoia. This is a weird one.
Well, it's weird because there's also like 2 completely separate things happening. Like completely separate.
Yes.
Both related because it's like people who kind of seem to not give a fuck and aren't really like invested in the game.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's much you can do about that. If you just like sit down to play a game and somebody just start, I mean, if we sat down and you just started playing a 1v1 CDH game
Yeah. Insane.
next to us, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, A, Y, B, what are you doing?
Yeah, focus on this fucking game, dude. Like, finish this game first. And also, why are you playing 1v1 CDH? Like, that's not fun either.
Yeah.
You know?
And then on top of that, to have somebody scoop just to be like, oh, my friend's here now. See ya.
I don't want to play with you anymore. I'm kind of done with you guys. I think I'm just going to fucking go over there. So get fucked, I guess.
So shitty.
Yeah. Like, I would never play with this person ever again. And I would tell other people this story. I would be like, don't play with that fucker. They won't give a shit. Like, it's just a basic respect thing, man.
I think what I would probably do in that moment is make them feel a little awkward by like kind of being loud about it and calling it out and like joking about it to a degree, but kind of also being serious of like, you know, like man, there's no way they're fucking listening. So I got these fucking neighbors that like leave their goddamn wash in the washing machine. And
dude,
I lose my fucking mind. It's there for fucking days. Like,
oh, dude,
what is wrong with these
it's
people?
Moldy?
The amount of time that I fucking finish washing their shit because I need to use it is like high. It's high.
God, dude.
I've done this many times. And so one of my friends was like, dude, you just gotta like leave them a note and be like, yo, next time I'm charging you, winky face, for like moving the shit over to make them feel some amount of embarrassment and be like, oh my God, I'm a fucking adult and I can't go down and do my laundry that I left there. Like my neighbor is doing this. And if that doesn't work, I'll just tell them to fuck themselves and put their shit outside or something. And be like,
throw it on the
I'm
fucking
done with
ground,
this
man.
fucking game. Well, that's where I'm at. That's the next move. Because I'm like, why am I moving your shit into this goddamn thing? Because at first I was like, maybe they just forgot it. But it has happened. Like anytime they have ever done laundry, it's down there for like days. And it drives me fucking nuts. And if you do listen to this show, fuck yourself.
When I was in college, the dude that lived below me, who's a big douchebag and piece of shit, he also would do the exact same shit. He would leave his laundry in there, and then his girlfriend would come over from her apartment and do her laundry at our place and just fucking leave it in there too. And our basement was fucking disgusting. Our whole house was disgusting.
Along with the rest of the house.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. Catch up on the backlog. You'll hear me talk about it. It was gross. Yeah. There's one time where I was like, I'm done. And I just took their laundry and I just threw it right on the fucking ground. And they were like, did you throw our laundry on the ground? And I was like, hell yeah, I did. Fucking do your laundry, dude. It's like, you could have just told us. And I was like, no, I'm not fucking responsible for your shit.
Job.
Get a fucking timer, dude.
Yeah. Like,
suffice to say, the point we're getting at here is respect your fucking fellow man and respect their time. You know what I mean?
For sure. And respect your own fucking laundry.
Yeah. Respect someone with the attention like the first part is like, give them the attention that the game deserves, right? Like we already complain, or we already talk enough about distracted players, people on their phone, like that fucking dude who played like Call of Duty in that one story that we had, like all this crazy shit that can happen, right? So there's that element. And then you also have them just scooping as soon as their friends get there. Like, I get that you want to jam a game with your friends, but like there are better ways to do it than leaving a pod with a 3-person game. Because sometimes when someone scoops so early, it just fucks up the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It's really hard to recover because you do rely on the balance of 4 players in EDH.
Yeah.
And when one of them just vanishes, like obviously it happens. Sometimes people have to leave. There's life stuff. Sometimes you fuck up your combo and you get so salty you scoop in shame. But like there are things that happen, but like I still think you gotta stick it out. I don't know. It's a respect thing.
Yeah, I mean that's all it is, right? Like you sign up to play a game with people. Like it's just a respect thing. Like you sit down at a table, you're like, let's play. You can leave at any time you want, but it is disrespectful to just kind of for no good reason, because I do not qualify your friend showing up as a good reason to just quit a game that you have already said, hey, I'm going to do this. It's like a life commitment, right? You're like, hey, I'm going to do this thing. I've said I'm doing it. And then to just be like, me, that other thing came along. So now I'm just going to go do that instead now. Like, and be like, fuck you.
Yeah, dude, it's so fucking lame. I will say, I was reminded of one time we were playing EDH at your apartment. You're in Mike's old apartment. I think it might have been the first time I ever played Magic with Mike. And like Jack was there and Nick was there. Maybe the first time I ever played Magic with Nick as well. And we played a 4-person game. And I don't know if it was EDH or if we were just playing 60 card decks and stuff like that. And it was so slow. Maybe it was a 5-person game. And it was so slow that you and I did play a 1v1 game on the side.
But I think we were doing like fuck all. I actually think I remember this now because I think that Jack, I think we were playing
Jack
60 card
deck.
like Emperor or some shit. Yeah, and he had like some crazy like Valakut fucking Awakening combo deck at the time.
He had a Saheeli, I remember it like distinctly because it was the first time I ever really saw like an infinite combo in Magic. He had a Saheeli Rai Felidar Guardian combo deck. And he just made infinite hasty Felidar Guardians and fucking crushed us. And we were like, is there anything we can do? And he was like, no. You know?
But if I remember correctly, he also had bullshit proxies in there where he just literally just like written on a like piece of paper. Felidar Guardian. I was like, what the fuck is that? Granted, I do have super shitty proxies in my Glarb deck right now.
Yeah,
but I at least drew. I drew a box and I tried to draw the card arts.
Hell yeah, dude! Hell yeah, I want to see those, man.
Yeah, they're not great.
I think I could point to that game as the first time Rule Zero ever failed me, where I was like, I have a janky 60 card deck. I think it's pretty good, and Jack was like, yeah, like my decks are all modern decks, but it's also a 60 card deck. And I was like, hey, apples to apples, baby. Yeah. Let's play the fucking game. And he's like, turn 4 combo. And I'm like, but my flyers. Did you consider my flyers? So funny, man.
So what do we think about the salt rating here on this one?
I'd be fucking rip shit, man. I would be so salty after this. Just the disrespect, man. The disrespect. Yeah. And to answer the question, how do I stop getting so salty from a past experience? I have no idea. I'm so bad about that.
I just like to make sure it doesn't repeat. I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to play with you.
Yeah, that truly is it. Never play with this person again. But like, you'll forget it eventually. But if I think hard enough, I can get pretty angry about shit that happened to me in the past. So I don't know. I don't know how you heal from it. I'm still mad about that fucking laundry, dude.
I was literally gonna say I'm still pissed about the fucking laundry. So you just can't.
And mine was like over 10 years ago. So like, I really don't have an excuse.
Mine was last week, and then 3 to 4 weeks prior to that, and 3 or 4 weeks prior to that. It's like every fucking time.
Yeah.
God.
How about one more here?
Yeah, lay it on me. Give me one more.
All right. So this one comes to us from our buddy Sandkeeper. What up, dude? And this post is titled, Taken Out to Gluntch, Food Too Salty. And the story goes, hello, members of the Round Salt Table. I come to you with a tale as old as time, a tale of magic, a tale of betrayal, a tale of friends. And those same friends pissing one another off to such a high degree that the salt starts to flow like never before. Late one Wednesday evening, after hours of our local game store, we find our intrepid heroes locked in heated battle in a pod of 3. One of many mistakes this night. Our intrepid heroes were as follows. Myself on a Jeru and Hazaret Legends Combat Matters deck, John playing Jetmir, a Tokens Go Wide deck, and Nick playing Gilwain, an Enchantress value creature deck. My first mistake was keeping a hand that was light on mana. I know that being a Boros deck didn't exactly make me privy to having access to large amounts of mana, but I had faith in my deck to deliver, a choice that I would soon regret. After several turns and several draws, I stick a low-cost creature card that doesn't have any sort of impact on this game. Both of my friends have gotten mana, cast their spells, and established real board states, while I fall to the wayside. An important card hits play. John plays Halo Fountain. Dude, I fucking love Halo Fountain, man.
Dude, you fucking would.
I have it in my well, I had it in my Abdel deck. I had to cut it because it's expensive.
Is this too fucking good?
Because it's like $7. And my deck is a $50 budget deck. Anyways, so John plays Halo Fountain. If people don't know what Halo Fountain does, it's all about untapping tapped tokens. So one lets you make another token. The second effect lets you draw cards. The last one is the important one. 5 white mana, tap Halo Fountain, untap 15 tapped creatures you control, and you win the game. No way he wins with that card, I think to myself. I've never seen someone use that card, let alone win a game with it. Although John has enough creatures to win with it, he doesn't have access to the quintuple white it takes to activate it. The turn passes to me, and with a full grip of uncastable cards, I sink my head into my hands and pass the turn. Nick then plays everyone's favorite jellyfish and the crux of our story, Gluntch. I give a desperate look to him, knowing that with the 2 treasures Gluntch provides, I can finally cast my commander and have some impact on the game. End step, trigger on Gluntch, Nick begins. I'll draw a card, John gets the treasures, and you can put a counter on all of your creatures. The pot begins to boil. You're seriously going to put a counter on my empty fucking board? I've been hard stuck on mana for an eternity, and you're giving John the treasures? As the turn moves to John, him and I both realize the same thing, and I start to fly into a salt-induced rage. Did you seriously give him the treasures to win? Are you fucking kidding me? Because John couldn't make the 5 white, and now with 2 treasures he can. My anger only being matched with John's excitement, he confidently moves to combat, swings out with all 15 creatures, and at the top of his lungs screams, Halo Fountain, bitch, I win! I look at Nick, my blood fueled with assault I haven't felt in ages, and I boil over. You have to be kidding me. Why did you hand him the win like that while actively fucking me over? Why are you like this? Nick retorts, how was I supposed to know? He was just going to cast Jetmir and win anyways. Tension's high. We decide to call that as our last game. John still rides his Halo Fountain high horse to this day, and I still do not trust Nick to help me in a game of Commander. Love you guys. Keep up the great work, and may the salt flow unto the earth.
Unto the earth.
Thanks, Sandkeeper. That's a good one. We got king making. We got taking game actions to specifically.
Is it king making? Is it,
well, so that's the thing.
He's gonna play anything anyway.
Dude, that is such a bullshit hand wave. Well, he would have cast Jetmir anyways, and we would have fucking lost. That is like exactly what somebody does when they're backpedaling as hard as possible out of a very obvious king make. They're like, yeah, but he would have fucking won anyways, so it doesn't even matter that I king made. It's like, you're so guilty when you say shit like that. Like, you're so fucking guilty. You're just admitting that you made the wrong move and trying to cover it up as best you can. I feel like this shit happens every once in a while where you're trying to like be funny, you're trying to fuck over a friend and like have a little jokey joke, and you accidentally set someone else up for like a big win, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you almost get blinders, right? You're like,
yeah,
I'm trying to fuck you over. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the game now. The game is not try to win. The game is how do I fuck you over specifically you. And I'm going to keep doing it.
You're so focused on being silly that you just fucking
You get
hand the game
blinded
to
by the
someone
fact that you
else.
give it to somebody else. And then in that moment, the person who's getting fucked is like, I'm pissed. You know?
Like, and they're like, not only fuck you, but why are you like this? I love that line. Why are you like this? Like, cut to the core. Like, what's wrong with you? There's something wrong with you, and it's manifesting in this game right now.
Yeah, it's like, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, dude. That is truly something you say when you're at the end of your rope. You're just like, you're not even questioning their game actions. You're questioning their behavior as a person.
Yeah. Their being itself.
Yeah, they're being. Oh my God, man. Man. It's so petty. It's so petty to not give him the 2 fucking treasures, dude. He's got 1 creature on board. Just give him the treasures. Like, come on.
Nah, bro. Nah. Right move was made.
Unless they were like so fucking out of the game that it truly did not matter. But I don't know, man. Like, you never know. You give him the 2 treasures, he could have the board wipe in hand. Like, you could be saved, dude.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where I want to know, like, is this like a common stay? Is this like, Nick and I killing each other until one of us is dead and the other is barely hanging on, and then you two just like fucking take off afterwards? Is it just how this always goes? Because I could see how you would then have this reaction of like, fuck you.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite the same, but I do think we see this sometimes. Like I think we kind of saw this the other day with Nick casting Yokel Hops, where he's like, well, I'm going to fucking cast Yokel Hops. I'm playing my Mogus deck. I'm going to cast it. And it's like, well, do you have to? And he's like, hell yeah, I'm going to cast it.
Yeah.
And then he did. And I just survived it. And I'm like, I think I just win now. And it's like, oh, yeah, well, I guess you do.
Yeah.
Like, no one got salty because we were tired, but it's a very similar situation, where like you do a big game action to kind of troll the board or troll the other players a little bit. And then someone endures through it and they're like, and I guess I just win now. And you're like, fuck, I guess you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do we think about this last one for assault rating?
The salty pasta water boiling over is pretty fucking accurate. Like, I would be crystallized. If somebody was fucking with me this hard that they threw a game, I would be so pissed. And it's not only that they're going out of their way to fuck you over. It's also just the complete lack of awareness for the board state and the fucking card that says I win on it. Like, it's like Hail Fountain says that it wins. He has the 15 creatures. Like, it's such a weird win con, but like to not be aware of that and be like, well, good thing he doesn't have 5 white mana, right? That's the only thing keeping us from losing. Anyways, want to give me the treasure tokens? And he's like, nah, fuck you, I'm trolling. Like, come on, man. Like, I get not being aware and being like lost in the bit a little bit, but like, God, you're gonna not even see that? I would be super salty. High salt for me, incredibly high.
I feel like I too frequently live in the realm where I'm doing what this other player is doing. I don't think I've ever quite thrown something that hard.
No, like, you have not.
You get lost in the sauce, baby. I can't deny it.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Yokel Hops example earlier. Nick would rebut. If he were here, Nick would rebut and say, what about all the times where Tony makes a decision and hands Sam the game? and he would be right.
Not even frequently. You fucking gave the guy infinite mana with Gaia once and everybody fucking freaks out.
Yeah, it really has only been like, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times in like the history of our pod where you've done that. But those memories were burned into Nick and Mike's mind with that infinite mana Agave one being the burniest of them all.
Yes. Yes, I know.
You'll never live that one down, man. It's like when I cast Tinker.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. We all just laugh. We don't fucking yell at you forever.
Oh, God.
Anyway, is it that time of the fucking week?
Tony, I think it is that time of the week.
Nice. What time is it? Like, I don't know what time is. It's a construct.
It's the time of the week that comes every week.
Every motherfucking week, baby.
It's the time of the week where we say, Tony,
huh?
Tony. What's the salty card of the week?
You know I got one because Mike's not here, so I do it when he's gone. But
are you ready, miners? Aye, aye, foreman. I can't hear you. Aye, aye, foreman. Oh, who lives in a salty mine under what sea? Howling salt
my
mine.
God.
And crusty dicklings with salinity. Howling salt mine. If frustrating stories be something you wish. Howling salt mine. Then drop in the cart and don't feed the fish. Howling salt mine. Ready? Howling salt mine. Howling salt mine. Howling salt mine. Howling salt mine.
Two things. You didn't play that on your nose just now, so disappointed in that. And I think you added one extra howling salt mine in there at the end, or my childhood is wrong, but something in my core felt like it was missing. So let me know.
Yeah, it could be. Of course, that is the theme song to SpongeBob SquarePants. Our lovely patron, Gierda, requested this and provided lyrics. I did tune a couple of them just so I could really hit the syllables with
on
consistency.
the emphasis for the right syllable. Yeah.
But most of those lyrics, I mean, then drop in the cart and don't feed the fish. Like, come on.
That's good.
That's
fucking
tight. That's poetry
solid.
Right there.
Yeah,
that's
it
poetry.
is. That's fucking poetry for sure.
And sorry to all of the other people who have had salty song requests. This one came in and it moved to the front of the line. Like,
I mean, if it's good, it's good. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I had to honor it, especially with the SpongeBob secret layer that has been like teased from Vegas. Like, you know, it's coming, man.
So the salty card of the week this week is...
You have to thank me for the salty song, Tony.
No, I don't have to. That's Mike's thing.
Well, thanks, Mike.
You'll just insert Mike saying, thanks, Sam.
Well, now I will.
Thanks, Sam. That was a lovely salty song of the week.
Well, thanks, Mike.
The salty card of the week this week is Corvol, the Fake-Cursed King.
Interesting.
It's Jundin 2, so that's black, red, green for a legendary creature, Dragon Noble. It's flying. Whenever Corvol, Fake-Cursed King, enters the battlefield or attacks, sacrifice another permanent. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Corvol and draw a card.
And what's that stat line? Was it a 4/4?
It's a 4/4. He's a chonky boy.
Big chongus, yeah.
So, Sam, does this make you salty?
It's interesting. Corvold as a salty card. I think at one point in my EDH career, Corvold did make me salty.
Yeah.
It was around the time when those Brawl decks were printed, because all of the Brawl decks were printed and the commanders in the Brawl decks were so fucking pushed that I remember looking at all of them and being like, half of these just say draw a fucking card right, like just stapled to it. Like between Corvold and Chulane, those created some really, really powerful decks and archetypes. Like Corvold completely overtook Prosh as the food chain commander for years, man, for like years and years and years. It still is a fantastic food chain commander. So I think my salt mostly comes from like the design of it. I've never been super salty facing a Corvold deck. Like you used to play Corvold CDH and it was good. I think the salty thing about it was that we fucking lost to it a lot because you would just be like, food chain, and we'd be like, well, I can't stop it, and you'd be like, I win the game.
Yeah, it was the epitome of deck where like it just kind of keeps coming and like it keeps just doing shit, and you guys would all like blow your loads on each other, and then I'd be like,
hot
food chain ?
Yeah, exactly.
It did the slow version of what Ob does, where also like Corvold himself gets big and is like threatening.
Yeah,
and,
dude.
Like, deals a bunch of damage.
Puts a ton of pressure on people.
Yeah.
I mean, with Dockside being banned, rest in piss. Now there's probably I'm going to do that bit for years,
forever.
At this point, like there's a salt that exists with Corvold that doesn't have to do with the power of the card and more the fact that in CDH it got really kneecapped with the bans. But yeah, Corvold does not make me that salty.
Corvold does some shit still, just in different ways.
So great, just in new ways. But yeah, it does not make me salty. Pretty low salt for me. What about you? What's your take on this card?
Yeah, you know, honestly, Corvold made me a little bit salty in casual, mostly because every motherfucker on the planet was playing it.
Yeah, dude. again, those brawl decks, man.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, another 2-lane deck, another Corvol deck. Like, give me a break. Build something interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that was like the real reason that I didn't love it. And then when I played it in CDH, it was great because I was like, well, I fucking hate blue. And at the time it was competitive. It still like really is. But like it was at a tier that was like competitive with things where it felt like I could do something and matter. And I didn't have to play blue to do that. So I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was cool.
And that's like when it changed for me. So I think we kind of both have that similarity where it's like there was a point in time when it probably did make me salty for relatively similar reasons, I think. And then, you know, in time that changed and like doesn't make me salty anymore. I think I might start playing Lance Corvol. Shout out to
hell yeah, dude. Shout out to Kyle from
Shout out to Kyle.
That's
from,
a good card podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he showed me the primer that he was putting together for it, and I was like, this deck kind of fucking slaps.
Hell yeah, dude. I love that, man. That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in general, those brawl decks were pretty salty. Like, I'm just thinking about like how the community probably views it. I think a lot of it is the prevalence of them, like you said, like people just facing it all the time. Yeah. And then when those brawl decks came out, not only was that a salty product because they were hard to get because they were getting bought up everywhere because everyone wanted those arcane signets. You know, that's the first set that had arcane signets in them. And remember, they were like $10, dude. And now arcane signet is like 20 cents, as it should be.
Yeah.
When you played against a Corvol player, that was also someone who bought the deck that you weren't able to find.
Yeah. I feel like it's the thing where it also like Corvol in particular is the type of deck that is, as we mentioned, like very pushed. And so in a casual environment, the scale of what people build for it is so all over the place that it's very hard to know, like, all right, did you build this totally broken, mostly broken? Yeah. It's going to be broken in some way. It's just how broken is it? And I think it leads to a lot of like power disparities. And so I think that probably also contributes to people's assault around this card as a whole. But
it's almost interesting that like Corvold isn't as insane in CDH, but like can absolutely dominate a casual pod, you know? Like some of the casual strategies almost feed into Corvold better because you can run things like Phyrexian Altar and Ashnod's Altar that you probably wouldn't ever consider in your CDH deck. But in a casual list, it's very reasonable to be like, you know, here's Avenger of Zendikar. I make fucking 10 tokens and I sack them all, and Corvold's massive and I draw a shit ton of cards and I'm going to one-hit KO you. Like you'd never see that at the CDH table, but that did happen to me at the casual table, you know? So I think it kind of exists in the space in casual where it can almost do stronger things than the CDH build, or maybe more explosive things because the games are longer. You have those setups and you can like do insane amounts of sacrificing, you know, versus what's available to you and viable in CDH.
Yeah, I mean, you also get to run like Pitiless Plunderer and shit. So it's like,
yeah, dude,
sack a creature,
get the treasure,
get mana, get a treasure, get more mana, crack the treasure. All that's draws. Like, fucking wild. I love that shit.
The funny thing with Corvol decks is I feel like there's a point where they have to sack off their value pieces because they almost deck themselves.
Nuts, you know, am I right?
Dragging this noble across your Cursed King.
Before we go too far off the rails.
Yeah, where is this on the top 300? I want to know.
Wouldn't you like to know?
Whoa, is Mike in the room with us?
I fucking do want to know, bitch.
I do want to know. And I
get your abacus out.
I don't even need to. I could just guess free. I could just free right off the dome, you know? I'm gonna guess Corvold is at 189.
Well, Sam loses because it's not 189.
No, but I'm closest.
You are closest, technically speaking. Corvold is at 100.
Really? 100 exactly?
Yeah.
Is
unless I did math
surprising.
incorrectly, then he's at 99. But I'm pretty sure I did it right. So pretty sure he's at 100.
We'll have Mike check the math.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, dude. I am honestly surprised that it even cracked the top 100 because I just don't think it's that salty.
Well, that's why I thought it was interesting.
Maybe people are getting crushed by it in casual games, but like I don't see it. I don't see it in any pods I play in.
Yeah, because we're just so fucking cool and can we like make better decks and shit. So like, that's why you don't see it.
I don't play that fucking brawl bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that wraps it up for the salty card of the week.
Thanks, Tony. That was a lovely salty card. And thank you to our prospectors out there.
Thank you for coming to the Thunderdome.
I haven't like exploded into the thank you like that in a while, so I figured I had to do it. It has been a while.
It's been a while.
But thank you for tuning into another episode of the Howling Salt Mine. We hope you enjoyed this twofer with just me and Tony here. It was a fun time. I definitely had a good time doing it.
Maybe it was fun.
And thank you to all the prospectors that tune in every single week. And you know we got to shout out our Salt Packet Plus tier members. And this week we have Thoughts Miss Prime, Rothbox, Sire Speedy, Bobo Fett, Brimstone, Captain Cross, Elgo Fogel, Clearbrook, D. Beeson, Gilgamesh, Doug's Dad, Bark Bark, Pez, Swankub, The Quiet One, and Vok. Thank you all for being so lovely. We love you all.
We do.
And if you want more Howling Saltmine content, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Howling Saltmine. Shout out to all the people who are in the holiday deck exchange right now. We have 76 people in the deck exchange. Last year we had 33. This year we have 76, which is fucking nuts.
That's significant growth.
I guess you could say the community is doing pretty well. Also, in our last Patreon game night, we had 40 people playing. We had 10 pods going.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. I think that's a record.
I don't think so.
Really? We've had more than that?
We haven't had more.
Okay. Then it is a record.
The number of pods we have is equivalent to our max. Anytime that I need more, I add one more pod.
Oh, then we've definitely had, because we have 12 mine carts.
So then we have been higher.
But still, it was fucking cool to see. So if you want to hang out with us, play games on the Patreon game nights, check out some of our additional content at those higher tiers, and get some tokens at our token tier club, the Salt Packet tier, then check it out. Jump on in. It's really, really fun. We got a great community, lots of lovely people in there. We're all supporting each other and hanging out and playing a lot of Pokemon TCG Pocket, which I can't talk about. But I will talk about it if you jump in the Discord. So do that. Another way that you can help us out is to send us your salty stories. Send them to our Gmail, which is thehowlingsaltmine@gmail.com. Send them to our website, which has a lovely form on there. You can fill it out and it'll submit it right to our email. It's very, very convenient for us. And our website is thehowlingsaltmine.com or howlingsaltmine.com. Both are going to get you there. I haven't done this in a while, but hey, please don't DM me stories on the site anymore. I lose them. I have a very young baby. Sometimes I will like get a notification on Reddit or something randomly, and someone's like, "Hey, here's a story," and I'm like, "Cool, thanks." And then a week goes by, and I'm like, "There's a story somewhere," and I've lost it.
But even then, it doesn't matter because it's literally not the process. There's a process, folks.
Well, you know, it's hard because
Submit it in
if
those
someone
places.
listens to the old episodes, we're like, send it
I don't give
anywhere.
a shit. Then those are gone.
But yeah, please send it on the website or in the Gmail. That is preferred these days.
If you want it read, please do that.
I can't.
If you don't care if it never gets read on the show and Sam just reads it in a DM, that's cool. But like,
I just don't have the capacity to be that organized anymore these days. We're just ripping them from the email these days. So
ripping them raw. Baby.
Really appreciate that. If you have sent it, you can resend it. If you sent it in one of those other avenues,
in the proper channel. Imagine just send it to you in a DM again.
If you did like a Reddit DM or an Instagram DM or Twitter DM, just resend it in one of those other places. Thank you. Another way that you can help out the show is to check out our merchandise. We have our playmats on Jank Mats. We have our custom Dragon Shield sleeves that we sell on our website. And then we also have our t-shirts that we have over on the Bonfire store. Lots of great stuff over there. So check that out. Another way that you can support the show is to give us a 5-star review in your favorite podcast app of choice, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, whatever you got. Give us a 5-star review because that boosts us in the algorithm. Goes a long way to get new listeners onto the show. And it's free and it's super easy to do. You don't even have to say anything on Spotify. You literally just click a button. It's great.
Yeah, but it's the 5-star button.
It is the 5-star button.
It's the only button where you don't have to say anything.
Also, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you hear episodes and you want to chit chat with us a little bit, but you're not in the Patreon Discord, you can do that on YouTube. We have a lovely little following starting to grow over there. So if you haven't subscribed or checked out our stuff there yet, check it out. Jump over there. YouTube's fun. We have no idea what we're doing over there, but hey, the podcast is there.
Fuck yeah.
Lastly, we got to shout him out, our buddy Devin Burnett, for giving us our beautiful podcast art. If you're ever in Asheville, North Carolina, hit him up and get a tattoo because he's a really cool guy.
10,000 subscribers are bust.
Indeed.
Bow, bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow. Bow, bow, bow. Just start inserting the blue clues like
some Blue's
fucking
Clues
dog.
shit.
You know, so
And as always, stay salty. And don't forget to draw an additional card during your draw step. It's late.
yeah.
It's the howling salt line. The howling salt line.
I got to open up the fucking thing. I thought I could do it off the dome.
You're fucking trash. Your dome ain't got nothing on this dome. If you know what I'm saying, you know.
I do. I just pulled Massacre Girl. Oh my God. It's late. I can't talk at all, dude. Oh, they just get in there, really massage
Ooh.
the cheeks, dude.
Getting in there. Massage them cheeks.
My face cheeks. My face cheeks, I swear. I just
I'll be like,
pulled
I'm about to
Massacre.
spread them cheeks.
No, Tony. Spread my face cheeks?
Do Gremlin Boys do salty cards? Yeah,
we
right?
do. Yeah, you're going to have to
Nice.
fucking find one.
Nice.
And I guess I just guess on my own.
Yeah.
All
Or I
right.
just find a random one, not know what it is, then look it up after the fact and be like, it's this number. Anyway.
It's the time of the week where we say, it's the time of the week. Fuck.
It comes every week, bitch.
Yeah, Mike not being here threw me off.